This is gonna be interesting, and I guess we will finish the 12 Rules of Life by Jordan B. Peterson today. And with that being said, I really hope we do. I really do hope we do, because I don't know. It would be nice to go through something different, just from time to time. But fortunately enough, I do just have another book summary going on the channel as well, so that's not such a big problem, But yeah, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And it is quite fairly late, to really be honest, that I'm actually recording the episode on. Because I did just, do have to do just a lot of things today. And this was actually the reason why I am recording right now. It is actually the first episode of today. I didn't do any posts today, and I do just actually have to upload one post additional for today. So I didn't have to do anything for today in terms of my things, in terms of the social media thing, because I do just have to do something for school, and there was some not holiday. I do not want to say holiday, but there were some religious kind of thing going on today, which was one of the reasons why I wasn't home until I think 3 o'clock or 3 p.m. actually, which is something, it just takes away a lot of time, but that's okay. I'm still gonna do all the things that I want to do. The thing that I'm actually thinking about is actually maybe only doing one episode for today, because 1 hour is just double the time of half an hour. But I'll see. I really think I'll see, but I just guess I should just go on with the text, so that we will eventually or hopefully actually finish today. I do hope that I'm actually going ahead with the right point right now, because I've just stopped in the middle quite of the 10th rule yesterday, which was great for the episode yesterday. So just please check it out until the end, please, because there was something great. I do not remember what I was talking about at the end, but it was something great. And yeah, but for now it's not that good because I do not know where I stopped. But I'll just go ahead with: give structure to the chaos through specific speech. If you speak carefully and precisely, you can make order from the chaos. So develop a new goal and navigate to it. Or develop a new goal and navigate to it. Precision sorts out the uniquely terrible thing from all the other equally terrible things that did not happen. If you have a pain in your abdomen, you start with a vague set of terrifying possibilities, then you go to the doctor, who collapses the possibilities into a single, clear diagnosis. You feel less anxiety, certain now that it is addressable, and you laugh at your previous anxiety. Why are your other concerns and problems any different? You cannot move in life without aiming at a direction. Random wandering will not move you forward. It will make you disappointed and frustrated and resentful. Which is totally true, and which is actually one of the things that I quite experienced before I was doing the episode, because I was just, before the episode doing my workout. I'm working on 3 days a week. It kind of works out just pretty nice for me, because if I'm doing more, I kind of feel like that I'm getting sick way more often, and this is something that I do not want to have, which is, total common sense, I guess, but I do not know why. I really don't know why. Maybe I'm just getting, I ain't getting enough rest or something, especially, with all the things that I'm doing additionally to now working out. I do think that actually stepping this up wouldn't be the smartest thing to do. But I was working out, and I do just, watch my workouts and see that they are challenging and that I kind of progress. But it's not like just, I guess, 5 months ago or something or a year ago or 2 years ago where, working out was actually my life. It really was my life, and it is somehow sad that it isn't anymore, that there are certain other things that, that are not more important, because my health is so important for me, and also my eating habits are just, on point. But it's not the number one thing, I would say. I still just watch it and I still just see that everything is somehow progressing. Maybe I'm not actually, because it would be nice if I did, but I'm actually just, sometimes I'm just looking at a few workouts and see what I could be doing, but the rest of the time I'm actually only going through things. I'm just going through them and just seeing that I just, do them, but I'm not just thinking about actually the progression I could do and just stepping it up a little bit and whatsoever. I just do this, during the workout somehow, and I should plan it. I do think planning, especially in terms of your fitness and nutrition, whatever it will be, is quite important. You do just still have to act on your plans, but plans are great because, and all the just, looking up the exercises and whatever it be, which gives you a lot of inspiration for things you could be doing so that you're not just, wandering around during the workout, which is something that I do just, aim to reduce totally, because this is just unnecessary and I would just lose a lot of time, but sometimes it happens, and then I just do any exercise that just comes to my mind, which isn't just the best way to go through these things, I'd say, but yeah. So be precise, what is wrong exactly, what do you want exactly, and why exactly. Endure the sharp pain of specificity and confrontation instead of the chronic vague dull ache of negligence. It is negligenze. Once you identify it, things will get better. And now this is a thing that we haven't been talking about, so I do guess, everything but the last quiet paragraph was something that we went through on the last episode, but the interpersonal conflicts are definitely something new. So many issues of this sort have to do with interpersonal relations, particularly with your romantic partner, communicating what you really think risks immediate negative emotion. Resentment, jealousy, frustration, hatred, so it's easy just to pretend you are a saint, or a saint is S-A-I-N-T, try to move on, that it's not worth fighting about. So if I'm just, because I'm going through it that quickly so that I'm not, that I'm just a little faster than usually, I do think that's not, I do understand what he wants to say, which is you should fucking communicate. And at my point of view, it's very, 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 very important, especially when you're in a partnership. It's very important with your parents, with all the people around you in general, and also if you're a boss, the right communication is key to a lot of things, to actually having a great culture in your family and or business or whatsoever. It is very important, but it is especially important when you just are living with a person just in the same fucking house. If you do just always keep the things for you, this is actually something that I was talking about yesterday or the day before maybe, I do really think that it will just, explode just in the future. If you're not tackling these issues that you're facing right in the moment when you're facing them, or just, you do not just really have to do it just quite really at a certain time, or just really right now at this point of time, but just not do it 2 years afterwards, or 1 month afterwards, maybe a week, but not longer. So just a common sense time, I would say. Just really not a big, time span in between those actions, because this will just build a lot of stress, I guess, a stress in your brain and just a stress in your relationship, and it isn't good. It is definitely not good for the relationship if you do are just, kind of hitting on each other and whatsoever, because there's something you just should have been talking about way before. But so in a marriage, there is little that is not worth fighting about. Do you really want an annoyance tormenting you every day of your marriage for the decades? All it takes to ensure a chronic plague is to do nothing. That's quite true. That's so true. The worst thing you can actually do is just doing nothing. I don't know. The problem there is, and I do think this is also one of the problems that a lot of people just think about, is actually saying something the other person might not like to hear. And I do guess doing it, anyways, is important, because as I said, at my point of view, it will just build a lot of stress in your relationship between you, between the connection or in the connection with the other person. And it's not just really worth, just having a relationship. And it is really not worth just kind of fucking it over just because you just think like, I don't want to say this because it might just fuck her and she might be just really angry at me for a fucking day or for a fucking week. But it wouldn't destroy your fucking marriage and it wouldn't destroy your fucking relationship. But it will eventually, and I guess the chances are pretty high, it will just fuck it in the long term. Yeah. Now, I'm encountering another just example why going for the long term is actually something that's so important. Because if you're just tackling some things just immediately, it might fuck you in the short term a little bit, but in the long term, everything is okay. So the longer you wait, the more the little problems form a thick, interrelated cobweb. Just the thing that I was talking about, each small unresolved resentment piles onto the next one, aggregating into a ball of hate, sometimes with its object blithely unaware. You behave poorly, which makes the other react poorly, thus perpetuating a vicious cycle. Each argument becomes difficult to extricate from all the other problems. Hence, or is it hence or hence? I don't actually know. I really don't know. I think it's hence actually. Hence the stereotypical couple's argument invoking insults from months or years past. Instead, specify exactly what is bothering you. Share this with a person. It is far better to do this early than later. If you let everyday resentment gather, it may eventually bubble out and destroy everyone. Which is just the exact same thing that I was talking about. And this is nice to see, because I seem not to be wrong, and I seem not to think about some wrong things that might be standing in the text, but they aren't, if you know what I mean. So just my understanding of the text, which is important for actually me going through it. So focus the argument only on a specific thing that is bothering, and not just, I do really understand why he points it out, because I do think that a lot of people will, drive away and be like, okay, yeah, and this is also a thing that I don't like about you, and this also, and whatever. Be specific about the one thing that you want to tackle right now. Want to tackle right now. I just thought somebody would come in, and I was just immediately acting like, I do just have to mute my fucking microphone, because I do not want to fucking cut the episode, because I do not actually have time for this today. But yeah, I'll go on, because during my workout, I was so looking forward to actually doing it. I was so looking forward, and it was so nice. It is so nice to actually be here, talking to you, talking about some things that I'm passionate about, some things that I like, and actually having just it in my mind that this is gonna just, develop into something. I do not know to which it will develop, but at least I will develop. I am just gathering a lot of information. I'm just, developing my, designing skill, because I'm designing every single day. And I'm speaking every single day in English, not my mother tongue. And definitely not, I'm just, also progressing in this one. So at least I do have to say, even though I might be wasting just a lot of fucking time, with actually, having the goal in my mind, actually being able to live from what I'm doing right now, I'm still developing a lot of skills that are maybe just very important for me and for my life, because you will never know. And I guess, for my plans, maybe actually moving out and, whatsoever. But yeah. So promise to solve just that one issue. The other problems will have their due time. Then, one by one, you reveal and solve the issues, and thus clearing the cobweb. Keep asking why. You can't clean out a dental cavity without digging out all the rot from the very bottom. Maybe she finds his laugh annoying because she doesn't want him to be happy when she isn't, because she thinks he held her back from her ambition because they agreed to center their lives around his career, but she now regrets it because she saw how it ate at her mother and ruined her parents' marriage, and now she resents all men in general for not having to bear children. I'm very sorry, but this is just a crazy, crazy thing. But who knows? This could actually be one of the things for some women out there. It actually could be, and it doesn't sound too crazy for me to actually not believing that it is real. The world in abstraction. Day to day we perceive the world with vast simplifications, happily unaware of the complexities and underlying the surface of the complexities underlying the surface. We perceive only what is enough for our plans to work and for us to get by. When everything works according to plan, we don't need to peer under the surface. We drive a car, indifferent to how an engine transmits power to the wheels, the labor that preceded the car, the electricity that powers the street lamps. We just care that the car functions to get us from point A to point B. We abstract away the world to simplify our lives because there is too much complexity to understand in ways that aren't immediately useful. I just understand. I really understand because it makes sense, and it just somehow reminds me on maybe not actually knowing and just recognizing things that people say I should. And this maybe just shows me, okay, it's not on my radar. It is just not on my radar because it's just not essential for my life to just actually work. If I'm just thinking about it like, okay, the car is working, this is the thing that you're thinking about, and you're not quite all the time thinking about, okay, thank God, the street lamps have power and I see everything. I guess if your car broke down or if something in your car isn't working or stops to work during your drive, it will fuck you. If one of the street lamps turns itself off because of some issues with electricity, I don't fucking know, then I think you will just recognize it. And then I think you will just be like, okay, this is fucked up. But if it's not and, everything is working that's somehow essential for you, there is nothing more to think about, I guess. If you don't want to, you can always do, but yeah. So when the world doesn't work properly, you have to peer into this complexity. Just what I was thinking about. And this is chaos. Chaos provokes anxiety. You have to figure out what's wrong, find a mechanic who can fix it, think about how to adjust a mechanic, figure out how much the unexpected cost will eat into your financial plans. You may plunge further into chaos. Are drivers more dangerous now? Am I incompetent as a driver? When the simplified world breaks down, the complex world that was hidden away becomes obvious. This happens with the relationships too. In a stable romantic relationship, both people have their role and identities, their history, their conception of the future. If one partner cheats on the other, all is scattered, or shattered actually. How could this possibly have happened? Who is this person I'm living with? How could she have done this? What part of the happy past needs to be rewritten? Pressures of aim and careful attention protects us when things break down. I see. Because I'm just thinking about it. I'm just really thinking hard about the things that I'm just, encountering, the things that I'm just, reading about. And it just makes sense. One of the things that's not good about all these summaries that I'm going through is that I do not keep as much attention to what I'm actually reading as I should be. It is one thing actually going through the episodes on a good pace or in a good pace so that, I do just get a lot of information for you, but it's completely something different actually understanding everything that I'm reading. And, for the long term and also memorizing it. This is, even another point, actually memorizing it, understanding it, being as fast as possible without being too fast so that it is just not a great experience. Something that I totally have seen is if I'm just going through it too fast, I first of all get somehow sloppy and I do not just, talk about the things that I, would just want to go through, and I'm also not just that detailed. And I do guess the detail is just something important for the people, and so it's very complex, I'd say. And this is also one of the things that actually, that I only see when something isn't working out. If the episode is working quite fine, everything is great. There's nothing to think about rather than, okay, I'm just going through the text and so on and so on. And I'm really not thinking about the complexity of maybe how my PC is working. If it, breaks down, and if something isn't working, I will wonder. I will be like, okay, how is this working? Could I solve this problem? Could I do this? Could I do that? And actually think like an engineer or a mechanic or whoever is actually repairing your PC. But I do just see what he's thinking about it in terms of partnerships, because it makes sense. If everything's working out and nothing is actually just bad, nobody will think about just the whole complexity. It is hard to explain, but I do hope the book itself just actually explained it just way better as I could have. So rule 11, leave children alone when they are skateboarding. Depending on your viewpoint, this can be a controversial chapter, as Peterson bemoans the postmodernist interpretation of gender as a social construct and its assertion that biological differences between man and woman do not exist. I do just have to say, if I've just read that correctly, and its assertion that biological differences between woman and man do not exist. Okay, just show me how I could just, give birth to a child or a baby. It's one of the biological differences, I guess. But I don't know, maybe I'm just not understanding what he's actually, thinking about, or what he actually means. It's completely something different. Yeah, everybody, I guess, just sees things differently. Also the person that is actually writing the summary. So the summary of this Mandarin, it is MEAN, and confusing chapter is this: modern society desires gender equality. When gender equality means equal opportunity, rights and treatment, this is good. However, it can be taken too far, like denying any biological difference between males and females, and insisting that behavior and outcomes be equal in every way. Peterson explains how this thinking arose from Marxist thinking. Maybe you know Karl Marx, who was basically living in the Soviet Union, or in time of Soviet Union, and was a fairly great thinker, I'd say. This is not supported by biology, and believing it could be counterproductive. This can promote raising boys to feminize them, making them less independent and more agreeable. This is counter to their nature and can cause adverse consequences. I don't know, I'm not very educated in just, biology and, all these things, but I do guess there are certain just differences between man and woman, as I said before, and also I think in behavior, still we are all individuals. This is something that I do just have to and want to point out and underline several times. We are all individuals, and therefore being like, every single woman and every single man is just the same. And, they all have, these certain, character traits, and, all these things. So how they just act and how they just behave and, whatever they do. But that's not true. There are certain women who just look like men. Just they were born like this. They do not have curves and whatsoever. And then there are men that are just look feminine. So yeah. The flaws of complete equality. Some postmodernist thinking claims that all of gender is entirely a social construct, that it was popularized by men to oppress over women. This began with roots in communist ideas that all people should be equal, that the rich exploited the labor of the poor and contributed little, and that social structures were put in place by the rich to oppress the poor. When experiments implementing this largely failed in the Soviet Union and China, the Marxist, there's a spelling mistake, ideals were rewritten from the idea of oppression of the poor by the rich to oppression of everyone by the powerful. When extended to its logical conclusion, this promoted skepticism of every cultural structure or construct and hierarchy as merely constructed by the powerful to continue their obsession. Science only benefits the science, gender classification benefits only the males, and management benefits only the managers. Measurement of skill benefit only the skilled. Each of these artificial constructs are made up to selfishly benefit the powerful and to exclude others. This means everything in the world is largely up to interpretation. Peterson decries the nihilism in this approach, the rejection of all categorizations as done only for power reasons. Surely power and corruption play some role in hierarchies. That's totally non-debatable. But they are not necessarily the only role over or even the primary role. Believing counterproductive ideas may be dangerous if it limits cooperation and peaceful completion, and contravenes biological rules involved over millions of years. The idea of complete equality itself is flawed. In general, pursuit of any valued goal produces a hierarchy. Some people will be better and some will be worse. Definitely. Absolute equality would require sacrifice of value itself. The hierarchy is based on competence and ability, not power. Because I'm just running over it so immediate, so fucking quick, and then I'm actually, trying to code it down in my brain what I'm actually reading about, and it makes sense. Hierarchy is actually created by the people who are good at something. There's the best, and then there's something most of the time. It, for sure, it depends on being, in what are you the best at, or in. It totally just differs. The thing is, if you're the CEO of a company, you do not, or you can't say, okay, this person is the best at every single thing in their company. He might be the best CEO. He might be the best or the first one to actually have that approach. But actually, he doesn't even have to be the best. Maybe he was just so established and that people actually just, talk about him and think about him as being the best, and therefore he is just the best. Whether he's actually the best and whether he has the proper skills and whatsoever to actually be the best or not is something different. There are certain people who just surround themselves with greatness and with great people, who then just, let them work for him or for her, and it works. Then you have a company and, maybe not only having or not only being the one with equity in it, but everything is great. Everything is running, which seems actually to be the thing with Henry Ford. So, of the Ford mobiles or cars or whatever. Some people will be better and some will be worse. I think in hierarchy, in general, it makes sense. But sometimes, it is very complex. I think it's very complex. Absolute equality would require sacrifice of value itself. In modern well-functioning societies, the hierarchy is based on competence and ability and not power. And the best predictors of long-term, in terms of competence and ability, yeah. Because I do guess, somebody that's completely incompetent wouldn't be in a just leading position for a long time in a company, for example. I don't think that. The best predictors of long-term success in Western countries are IQ and conscious and consciousness, which I wouldn't say. I do just think that EQ matters a lot. So your emotional intelligence, it really matters a lot. And I do think just in the future it will just, become way more important, I hope. And it is also something that Gary Vee was talking about, because people will have same skills because, actually learning them, I guess. I'm just assuming, which is what he thought, by saying, okay, in the future EQ will be just, more important because skills, so I guess, I just don't remember what he actually said, but skills I think will be learned or can be learned by everyone. But I go on. So the most diehard egalitarian, and see if he wants to find a more reputable, more skilled doctor when he gets sick. See, and then if she believes in a hierarchy of skill that is not merely an artificial construct. There is perverse but understandable logic to the argument that all hierarchy is socially constructed. Its believers desire for all inequalities to be eliminated on the basis of fairness. But if some inequalities are hardwired into our genes or have functional purposes like identifying the spectrum of skill or result from free will, females may give free will in brackets free males. Females may given completely equal environmental treatment just enjoy nursing more than males do. Then, which is in caps actually, proposing obliteration. I'm gonna get it. Obliterating these would sound unreasonable. It would mean opposing free will or overriding biology. On the other hand, if all hierarchies and inequality are merely artificial social constructs, then destroying them is justifiable. In other words, find someone who insists that all hierarchies are artificial constructs, and you'll see someone who cannot stomach the idea of inequality in any sense. And yeah, because I just would have liked to go through the whole thing today. It would have been nice. It would have really been nice. But I do think I will just go through another one. I will just go through the other summary that I'm just working on right now. But I guess I will just eat something and just, shower. Then I'll do it. And then I do just have to learn some physics. And do some art history as well. Fuck. And do the fucking posts. I'm entirely fucked, I guess. It is tough. It really is. It really is tough. It's not something nice. It is something nice. I like to do these things, but I do actually have 2 hours left, basically for everything, if I would like to actually sleep for 8 hours. That won't work. It really won't, but I still wish you the best health, wealth, happiness, and success. And yeah, please watch how you're gonna be remembered, and maybe you do just have to give something to the world or to people for that, so that you actually get, that you are remembered as someone as someone that's just nice and someone that's good to be around and whatsoever. So just watch your legacy. And with that being said, as always, I wish you the best, and I maybe see you today again.